Hello and welcome to episode 20 of the She.Must.Knit podcast. My name is Erin and thank you so much for spending some of your time with me today. How have you guys been? Did you have a great week? I had an okay week. Like I said last week, we had guest day for the long weekend and we had some other friends over as well. And I actually had a pretty productive weekend when it came to knitting. And then for some reason, after that weekend, I just kind of hit a wall. I have hit a wall this week. Does this ever happen to you? Both with knitting and just with summer vacation in general. Like, I just feel like, you know, July went by and it went by so fast. And I was like, yeah, you know, this summer is going along so well. And you know, we've been keeping busy and everything's great, and then for some reason this week I am so ready for school to start again. It is getting harder, or it just feels like it's getting harder to keep Avery busy all day, and just the balance of keeping her busy. And then I have two shows coming up, one on August 25th coming up in Barrie, the Fiber Spirit Festival, and then the Kitchener show early September. They're only 2 weeks apart, and I think it is catching up with me, just like what I need to get done and how can I get that done while also just staying out and keeping Avery happy, because she is such a social kid. She needs to be around people all the time. Today we were at the park for almost 4.5 hours, as evidenced by my lobster chic there. But yeah, I feel like this week it's not been a hard week, but I feel like I've hit a bit of a wall. So I hope you guys had a great week. I still did get some knitting done. I do have things to share with you. I have a finished object, and then I also have a new cast on. I have a new project. And I had mentioned, you know, the possibility of that last week, but I had cast something on and I have something to show you today. So I'm going to take a quick sip of my tea before we get started. I am back to my strawberry shortcake from Citizen Tea. This one is so nice as an iced tea, although I have to say this has been sitting on my desk for a little while because I had to put Avery to bed. It's not so much iced anymore, but it is a tepid tea, and it's still tasty. If the lighting is a little weird, Avery's in bed now. I had to wait until the evening, so it is late right now. She's in bed. We have a Mr. T on the table because in the evenings, if you have cats, I don't know about you, but he tends to be extra cuddly in the evenings. So we have a Mr. T on the table, and the lighting is a little wackadoo, but we're just going to make it work. So what are we going to start with? We are going to start with my finished object. This is what I was working on over the weekend when our friends were here. I honestly didn't think I was going to get a lot of knitting done, but we were outside a lot, and Mr. T is just getting them ready for me. Thank you, Mr. T. But yeah, we were outside a lot on the deck. It was a beautiful weekend, and so while we were out there, he is stealing my sock. Such a rascal. Anyway. Okay, he has moved on to better things, so hopefully he won't be interrupting us anymore. So what I was trying to say before is I finished my Q Train socks because we were out so much, just outside enjoying the weather this weekend. I thought, hey, why not knit on my socks, right? And if you're a knitter and you know you can be social and knit. So I brought my socks outside and I finished my Q Train socks. So this is a pattern by Mina Phillip, the Knitting Expat, who also hosts the Knitting Expat podcast, and I did enjoy, in the end, I really enjoyed this project. I started off, I had a bumpy start, just because the stitch pattern was a little challenging with the needles I started with, but once I switched to my Chiaogu mini twist needles, that extra point just helped with this stitch pattern here. It goes over you kind of have to manipulate 2 stitches, but yeah, if your needle is tapered enough, it works out really well, and I really, really love the texture that it gives, and also over the self-striping yarn. I wanted to do this pattern because I had a square on my bingo box to make 2 pairs of cuff down socks, and so I wanted to do that to finish off that box. And I also wanted something that was going to be just textural and easy to carry around when we're out and about, and I thought this pattern would fit with that, and overall it did. I mean, I did have to concentrate when I was doing the rows with the pattern stitch, but other than that, it was a very easy to memorize stitch pattern. Once I had done maybe 2 rows of the first sock, like right here after the cuff, once I had done 2 rows, I understood the pattern. I was able to just go. It's just when I was doing that row with the stitch pattern, I did have to look at what I was doing. So it wasn't completely mindless in that I could just, you know, knit, 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 knit like a vanilla sock, but it was still very easy to carry around with me. So I do have the second sock here. And the other reason that I wanted to try one of Mina Phillips' patterns is that I have really been enjoying the German short row heel lately. I've been using it in all of my Desert Vista Dye Works vanilla socks, and I knew that she had a heel flap adjustment that she has kind of developed to go with her sock patterns that give just a little bit of extra room in the heel area, because sometimes with short row heels, the heel cup can be a little more shallow than a heel flap and gusset, and so she developed a little modified adjustment there to give a little extra room, and I really wanted to try that. So I'm going to pop in a picture here of both me wearing the socks so you can see what they look like on the feet, and then also a picture that I took and I showed a few weeks ago that just kind of shows the area of the heel flap adjustment and what kind of room that adds in. Well, obviously I have a picture, so I've tried these on. Now I have not worn these because these are for my friend. I knit these for my friend. But just in wearing them, I do find the heel very comfortable, and I think I would definitely try and incorporate this into other socks. Now, she has it written in her pattern, this adjustment, for both toe up and cuff down. And so obviously these were cuff down. I have not yet tried her adjustment in a toe up pattern. I'll have to reread her pattern or reread that section of the pattern and just see how it works for a toe up construction. But in terms of the cuff down, I could very easily insert the adjustment into another cuff down sock without having to reference the pattern again. It is a very simple technique once you know what you're doing, and I do think it adds just that little bit of extra room. It's right in here. So I am very happy with this project. I cannot wait to see my friend and give her these socks. I usually try and make a pair. In the last couple of years, I have made her a pair for her birthday. So these are her birthday socks. Now, they are done late. Her birthday was in June, but I mean, I haven't seen her since her birthday, so that's okay, you know. So I have these socks, and I do really like how they turned out. So for the yarn, the main color here is from White Birch Fiber Arts, and it is in the Hope colorway. And then for the contrast, I used a Luette Mini Gem that I overdyed. It was a pale mint green, and I overdyed it to kind of coordinate with these colors. And I used a total about, I always put my yardages in my project pages if you are ever interested in how much yarn a project takes. I always keep track of that, because then it, if you add your stash into Ravelry, it automatically calculates that. If you, in your project, say use stash yarn, it automatically calculates all that. So I really like doing that. But for this project, I used just under 400 yards total. So I think it was about 64 grams of the main skein, and I used about 16 grams of the contrast skein. So these are done, and that was part of my August. My goals for this month was to finish these socks, and I did, and I am so glad that these are now off the needles, because I can concentrate on other things. Now, you think that I would be concentrating on other projects that I have started recently, like my Girona top, or one of the, 200 whips I have over there on my whip shelves, but no. Last week I talked about how this coming weekend, so in like 2 days, how we will be going to a baptism where we have been asked to be the godparents. And last week when that occurred to me that this was coming up quickly, of course my first thought was like, oh, I should knit something for the baby, even though I have a week, and I can totally knit something for the baby in a week, right? It's just a little baby. We all have those thoughts. Now the main thing with this was deciding what to cast on, so what project. I was very tempted to cast on a new release that I talked about last week called Baby Nicole by Kate Oates. But then I was also thinking, okay, I'm sure I have something in my huge library of patterns, because I remember over the past couple of years I went on a buying binge. Every time there was a new pattern that I loved, I would buy it, or if there was a sale, I would buy it. I have so many patterns that I really need to use. So I decided before going ahead and purchasing Baby Nicole that I would just take a look through my Ravelry library. I did the thing where you do the advanced search and you search by in library, and then I chose baby garments just to see what came up. And actually a pattern did come up that I purchased back in 2013. I'm sure I picked this out as something to knit for Avery, but then, you know, before I got to it, she kind of outgrew this style. I don't think this would suit her anymore. So I thought, you know what, this is the perfect opportunity to knit something that I really, really liked the look of, but then I don't currently have someone who I think it would suit. So the pattern that I decided to cast on is the Claudine layered top or dress by Lisa Chemery, Frogginette Designs. She is one of my favorite children's knitwear designers. I don't knit her designs as much now anymore. I find, for me personally, that her aesthetic it works really well, like for me. So when Avery was, say, 1 to like 4, her designs really suited the aesthetic that, you know, the stuff that I picked out for Avery. Now that she's older and that she has her own sense of what she likes to wear and colors that she likes to wear and styles that she likes to wear, I find that her designs don't fit in with her wardrobe as much, so I haven't been knitting her patterns as much. So I just thought this was a great opportunity to use one of these patterns that I've had in my library since 2013. Obviously I liked it, obviously I wanted to knit it, and I just haven't had the chance. So I decided to cast on this little top. Now, I currently have like less than 2 days before the baptism. I have all day tomorrow, and then if need be I have the morning of the baptism, because it is in the afternoon and we do have a bit of a drive to get there. So technically I do have a little bit of time on Sunday, but I'm going to have to get the bulk of the work done tomorrow because I am not done this project. I thought I could finish it. I was like, oh, no problem. By the next episode I will have this little baby garment done. But like I mentioned earlier, I hit a wall this week after this long weekend when I finished the Q-Trade socks. I finished those, I think, on Monday, either Sunday night or Monday. And I was feeling really good about my progress for this week. I was like, yes, these socks are done. I can cast on the baby garment, whatever I choose to do. And, you know, 4 days will be plenty of time to get this project done. And then I just hit a wall. I cast it on. And I think I cast it on either Monday night or Tuesday. And for 2 days, every time I went to work on it, it would just kind of sit on my lap with me, and I would stare at it, and I would look at the pattern, and then I would look back down at it, and I'd look at the pattern and be like, okay, what do I have to do next? And I'd look down at the project, and I wasn't in the mood. I just wasn't in the mood to work on it. So yesterday I was like, okay, Erin, we need to get cracking on this if we have any hope of finishing this. So I did take the cast on. I had already cast it on, but I sat down and I was like, we need to at least get to the body where you're just kind of knitting straight. And I did. So my plan is, I'll show you where I am right now. I am almost done the first ball of yarn. And you know, the nice thing about this pattern, and I will have popped a picture in already, but depending on how far I get on the body of the dress, I can choose to add those little extras in depending on what time how much time I have. So this is what I have done so far. I've got the little bodice done, and I've cast off for the sleeves. So the sleeves are done as you go. Once you get to the amount of stitches that you need for the sleeves, you cast off with a picot cast off. So they are already done and, you know, looking very nice. I don't have to do anything extra with the sleeves other than the layered look. And then, yeah, like the color, you know, I would have to add that in. But like I said, if I get into a really, really, really huge time crunch, technically I can add the buttons to, so there's a little placket on the back. And from what I understand, the button loops and buttons are added on after. So if I absolutely get to the last minute and I just finish the body of this garment, I can do the button loops and the buttons and cast off wherever I am, because I think it's just a garter cast off, and it would just be a really cute little kind of top. So I think what I'm going to do, I really do want to do the layered sleeves. I really, really like how the little puff sleeves look with this, so I think I am going to continue on tonight for as long as I can stay up and work on the body. And however far I get on the body, tomorrow morning, the first thing I'm going to work on is adding in the little layered puff sleeves. And then I will continue on with the body until that's done. And then if I have time, I'll add in the little collar. I like the look of the collar, like I like the look of the whole thing, but if I had to do without something, I would do without the collar and keep the little puff sleeves, because I think that looks really cute with how it looks like it's layered. Now, the pattern is also written to be either a top or a dress. There's a different amount of increases depending on which one you're doing. So I could, you know, save some time there as well. Depending on, obviously, I think I would want to get a little further than I am now to make it a top. But you know what? I was thinking, even if I don't get much farther than this, if I were to go out and get like some leggings and like a little tutu or something, like a little baby tutu, I think that would be a really, really cute outfit. I would still like to get this a little longer just because I think it will have a little more longevity for her to wear it. She is still a baby. I actually don't know how old this baby is. Like a couple weeks ago, we just got an email going, hey, I'm sure you haven't heard, but hey, we had another baby, and, you know, would you, you know, be the godparents at the baptism? It's like, okay. So I'm assuming that this baby is less than 6 months old. And that's why I chose the 6-month pattern, because I find that the sizing is pretty forgiving. But yeah, like even if I don't get much more length done, I think it could be paired with a little skirt and leggings and still be really cute. But I would like to get a little more done. I am using for the yarn some old stash. So that's the other good thing. I'm using an old pattern from 2013, and I am using some like deep stash. This stuff is old. So this is the Knit Picks Felici Sport. They don't even make this. This is discontinued. I only had 2 balls of it, and this pattern called for a sport weight, so this yarn has been sitting around. I have just not found a good project for it, and I just thought it would work really, really well for this little top. So this is all I have left of the first ball. So I think what I'm going to do is keep working on this and knit this in until I use that first ball up. And then check the length, and then I might go to the little sleeves from there and then maybe add in the second ball. I don't know. The other thing I want to take into consideration is because this is a striping yarn, and because I am still doing increases, these stripes are gradually getting narrower and narrower, and I really don't want it to get to the point where the stripes get to where they're broken up, like they're not clear stripes anymore. So I might even stop my increases before it's written in the pattern, depending on how narrow my stripes are getting. I'm kind of watching, you know, with every increase, I'm losing a little bit of how many rows each stripe is. And some of them are narrow. So you can see here, like the yellow one and the pink one are narrower than these blue ones. So if it gets down to where the yellow and the pink stripes are down to like 1 row per stripe, I will probably stop the increases wherever they are and just continue straight on from there. and then do the hem. Like I said, it's just a garter stitch hem. So I think this has the potential to be really, really cute, and I am glad that I was able to use a pattern that I have had forever, and I am glad that I have been able to use yarn that I've had forever. The only other thing I have to decide is that if I end up doing the little sleeves and the little collar, is what color to do them in. One change I am going to make is I believe the pattern calls for the sleeve and the collar to be done in the same weight of yarn, so a sport weight yarn. And I noticed while looking through the project pages, not all the projects, but some of the projects, the sleeves and the collar looked really bulky. Like they just didn't lay as nicely as some of the other ones. And I'm wondering if, I think what I'm going to try and do is do the sleeves and the collar, if I do the collar, in one weight of yarn thinner. So I'm going to look for some fingering yarn and do the sleeves and the collar in a fingering yarn, hoping that the finer weight might help them not look as bulky, like more, because like it's layered, right? You don't want it to be thicker, like look thicker and like poofy. I just want it to be kind of like a nice accent. So I'm thinking of looking through like my fingering weight scraps or my mini skeins, and what I think I'd love to find is like an off-white or an undyed that just has speckles on it. And if they had speckles of these colors, like maybe some pinks and blues, I think that could look really, really cute. Otherwise, I think I'm just going to have to pull out a bunch of mini skeins and just see what kind of looks nice with this. But otherwise, I'm really happy with how this knit is knitting up. Yeah, I think it's going to be really cute. So unfortunately, I will not have that project to show you in person next week, but I will definitely take a picture of it, especially if I find a really cute little outfit to go with it. I will definitely have a little picture to show you, and hopefully I finish that. Like, fingers crossed. Like, do you think I'm going to finish it by Sunday? Let me know what you think. Okay, who's in the finish it camp and who's in the, oh, you're not going to make it camp? I do have a backup plan. If I don't make it and if I can't finish it on time, I have a giant box of knitwear that I've knit for Avery over the years. A lot of them were test knits that she never wore, and so I am sure there is something in there that I can find, and you know, I can probably put a little outfit together with one of those as well. So I'm not too worried about not having anything, but I would really like to finish this project. And then also, this project works for the KAL that I currently have going in the Bling Your String group. We have a Breezy Arms KAL going on that's going at least till the end of September, and it is for any project from baby to adult that just shows part of your arm. So tank top, t-shirt, 3/4 length sleeve. As long as some of the arm is exposed and it's a garment, you can enter it in the Breezy Arms KAL. And while we're talking about patterns for the Breezy Arms KAL and baby knits, I have another pattern highlight. So today I was on Ravelry, and of course Ravelry just, I'm constantly finding things on Ravelry. I just need to stop. I need to stop looking in the designer forum and seeing these new patterns, because I was this close to being like, oh, well, forget this project, I'll just cast on this project, because, you know, I can't finish this thing that I've already started in 2 days, but I can totally start something new and finish that in 2 days. Like, crazy talk. Anyway, I was in the designer forum, and this new pattern was released for babies up to, I think, up to 6 years, so babies and children. It was really cute, and it was really unique, and it is called the Tea Garden Cardi, and it's a crochet pattern. I actually didn't even realize it was a crochet pattern when I first saw it. It wasn't until I went to the design page and had a better look, and that's why I thought, oh, I'll just forget this one and start this one and get that done in 2 days, because if you crochet, you will know that crochet tends to be faster than knitting. But I was like, no, I started this, just keep going, we'll put that one aside. But yeah, that pattern is really, really cute too. If you crochet and if you have little people to make projects for, it would totally work in the Breezy Arms KAL as well, because it is short sleeved. So yeah, go check that out. Oh, and it is on sale until August 16th, 50% off. I'm very tempted to pick it up anyway, even though I am trying not to buy patterns that I am not immediately starting, but it's really cute. So we'll see. I might still buy it. We'll see. But yeah, so that is my progress on that, and hopefully I will have good news for you next week. But the next thing is the collection for this week. And briefly before I show the collection, I just wanted to talk about my sock blank clubs. I always forget to mention when I have the new listings up because I do monthly themes and I also do 3-month blocks. So if you're not familiar with my sock blank clubs, you get a sock blank that's dyed to a theme. So I post pictures every month and the sock blank is dyed inspired by that picture. And then you also get a set of stitch markers according to your preferences. You have choices with your ring sizes and style. And then I also do a handmade clay progress keeper that goes with the theme. So I recently put up the next 3-month block for October, November, and December. So the pictures are up. It's on the website. You can kind of see where the inspiration is. And then I also put up the single listing for October. So you never have to get 3 months at a time. You can just do it by month when you see a picture that inspires you. But they are really fun to do, and I have on my website also a link to past months so you can kind of see what I've done with other month inspirations. If you love sock blanks or if you've been wanting to try knitting with a sock blank, these can be a really fun way to start. So I encourage you to go check those out. All the information is on the website. So now I have my collection, and last week I gave you 2 choices. The fabrics were either the birds or the flamingos, and the votes were so close. When I cut the fabric, the birds were in the lead, but after that the flamingo snuck back up there and it's tied again. So I am going to hang on to those flamingos, and I think we are going to have a rematch with, I have another fabric that also lost very close to the fabric that, like the two that it was, or the other fabric that it was against. And I think I'm going to bring the flamingos back very soon, and I will be offering that one again up for vote because it was so close. But I did end up going with the birds, and I have some bags and I have some yarn. It's a smaller collection this week since it was a smaller piece of fabric, but I hope you like what I did. And it is right here. So the yarn this week, actually I'll start with bags so that you can see the fabric again. So this was the bird fabric, and I did a mid buddy, so this is my medium size drawstring bag, and I have 2 accent fabrics with this one. I thought this really nice pulled out that green really well. So this is the mid buddy bag, and then I also did one of my regular bags, so these are my regular zipper bags, and I did a wee sidekick. So I have 3 bags in this print. And then the yarn, I did a sock blank and then 2 yarn skeins. So this is the sock blank, and basically for the yarn, I love this sock blank. I would totally keep this sock blank if I could, but for the yarns, I started off with a gray base, and then I just pulled all the different colors that were in those birds and just like piled it all on. So they kind of went crazy, but I love how that turned out. So that's the sock blank. And then I have 2 skeins of yarn. One is my standard 25-75 superwash wool nylon blend. So I've got one of those, and you can see there's like little bits of the pink in there. But yeah, there's just a whole bunch of colors, and then they just kind of all mixed and did crazy things. So I've got one of those. And then I actually have a worsted weight skein. So this is kind of it's a superwash wool, but it's not a merino wool, so it's a little bit more toothy than a merino, but it's still pretty nice. It would be great for like accessories and hats and stuff like that. So I have one of those, and that is my collection. So next I have the vote for next week, and the 2 fabrics I have here yeah, they're a little bit different, but I really enjoy the colors in them. So the first one here are these lanterns, so like paper lanterns. So I just think I really like the combinations of colors in there, especially peach. I don't work a lot with the peach, but I like how the peach and the pink and the like the aqua, I really like how those play together. So the first choice is the paper lanterns. And then the next choice is some dream catchers, and there's actually a gold metallic on this one, if you can kind of see the sheen. I think that is really pretty, and again, I think the colors are really, color combination is really pretty in this one. So your second choice is the dream catchers, and I have some really nice accent fabrics for both of these, so either one I'm excited to work with. So let me know in the comments below what your choice is this week, either the lanterns or the dream catchers. And remember, any comments on any of my videos go towards a monthly draw that I do for a $20 coupon to use in my shop. So I hope you enjoyed this episode. I hope your week went really well and you got lots of knitting done, even though I feel like I did not get lots of knitting done. But hopefully next week is a new week, right? So I hope you guys have a great week and a great weekend, and I hope you get lots and lots of crafting done. Hopefully I will have a good weekend. But yeah, I will talk to you soon. Bye.